Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to Marvelous Chats. This is episode 102 of the podcast. Tonight on the cast, it's myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Zeberwolf. We're going to be going over episode 4 of Scret Invasion and any other nerdy news from the week. If you're new to the channel, please consider dropping a like or a follow or subscription, whatever they call it, and leave a comment below if you're watching us on a replay. Let us know what you think of the content. Without further ado, here we go. What's up, broski?
Hey, buddy. How you been?
I'm good. I'm good. That intro went really well.
I know.
I was proud of myself for that one.
Smooth sailing.
Smooth, baby. What's up? What's up? How are you? How was the week?
Great. Week's been a bit busy. Wasn't too hectic for work. I got some interesting news, and I'm not gonna say anything just yet because I don't want to jinx it.
Oh my god!
But
how dare you tease us like that?
I know. So you're gonna have to wait. I'll let you know if everything goes well. If everything goes well, I will decide to break the big news. It's
I'll DM you, but I think I know what it is already. But I'm gonna guess. I think I know what it is already. But
okay.
Anyway, I'll DM you and see if I'm right.
Okay.
Yo, big shout out to everybody who's in the chat with us for the live broadcast. Nikki, Even, Andre, everybody, appreciate you all. So yeah, look, this week it was a very busy week for me this week in work, and I wanted to do nothing this weekend, and the weather was so shit over here this weekend that it was the perfect weekend to kind of put the feet up and do very little. So it was great. But on Friday, I ended the week on the biggest high note of my life. See this guitar here that's on the wall?
Yeah.
So people know I actually made this guitar. It's a kind of copy of the Tom DeLonge signature Fender. So it's a Squire version. So it's like the cheaper version of Fender. And I kind of made it myself. I got the pickup. I got everything to kind of make it replicate a signature because that model of guitar was out for 1 year in 2001 to 2002. And I was very young, didn't have any money, couldn't afford to buy it. Very hard to get them in Ireland as well. I know one person in Ireland who has one. So I was just like, it just wasn't even possible for me at the time. Never thought I'd see them again. So at the start of the year, I made that guitar and I was so happy with myself. And fucking 2 weeks ago, I heard rumors on Reddit that they were going to be re-releasing it, and I was like, I cannot believe this. Like, again, I believe very little I read on the internet these days, so I was like, I'm not gonna get excited or do anything about it until I hear it officially. And then Tom himself from Blink put a picture up on his Instagram of him holding the fucking guitar, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, it's coming back. So I left a comment on the video, or sorry, on the picture on Instagram, and someone started DMing me on Instagram. And he was like, bro, I pre-ordered one. It's real, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, where'd you get it from? And he said that he got it from the same shop, the same online shop that I would shop and buy my guitars and stuff from. So I was like, what are the odds of this? So I was like, holy shit. So this was on Thursday. So on Friday, I said, I ringed the shop, or sorry, I sent an email on Thursday night to the shop. And I said, blah, blah, blah. Are the rumors true? If so, can I pre-order one of these? And then they wrote back to me just going, please ring the shop. And that was it. And I was like, oh, I might be onto something here. So I rang them and they're in Germany, but I rang them and I was like, hey, how's it going? I heard about this guitar that's coming out. And I heard if you get in contact with you guys directly, you can do a pre-order. And they were just like, yeah, it's true. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, can I pre-order one? And I was like, have you got any yellow ones? Because like the yellow version of it was like really rare back in like 2001. And they're like, yeah, we have a couple left. And I was like, put me down for a yellow one. So I got one pre-ordered, official Mexican made Fender Stratocaster, Tom DeLonge. Wow. I'm like, bro, honestly, I'm so fucking excited. Like it's literally my dream guitar. I've wanted it since I was like 11 years old. Like, so. And I went this year as far as actually trying to make my own one. And I'm just like, now I have the real one coming. I'm fucking over the moon. Incredible.
Oh yeah, dude.
So like I was just on Friday again on the phone to them, got the pre-order. They sent me like a pay link. I paid for it. And again, I felt like I was 11 again. It was Christmas. Like I was like screaming in the car on the way. I was like, yes, I can't believe I got this. Like, so fucking hard week in work, but what an end to the week. It was absolutely incredible.
So when you buy something like that, does it come with like a special case or anything of the sort?
I don't think it's going to come with a case or anything, but on the back of the guitar, there's like what they call the neck plate, and that will have like a kind of custom like Tom DeLonge kind of badge on it or whatever. Like so, and like it's a top of the range Fender. So like it like the ones that were made in like 2001 are going for something silly like $4,500-$5,000 on the secondhand market now. So and they brand new. They were like $700 new. Like so, I could never afford to buy one. You know what I mean? And I
Right.
was contemplating it, and I even messaged the dude who I know who has one, and I held it in like 2006. There's a picture of me, like when I was like 15 years old, holding the thing. Like that's how, like even back then, like how much I loved it. Like, and I even said to him maybe about 6 years ago, I DM'd him. I was like, "Do you still have that guitar? I'd buy it off if you don't have it." And he was like, "Oh, I sold it." And I was like, "Oh, bollocks!" And he lied to me. He lied to me because
What?
I didn't. I kind of, not that I lost touch with him, but we kind of went our separate ways for a few years. But we've only reconnected recently, and he just casually dropped it in conversation that he still had it, and I was like, "I thought you sold that, bro." He's like, "I tried to buy that off you like 6 years ago," and he's like, "Yeah, man, I just lied to you because I just didn't even want to go into a negotiation with you because he's like, I knew I wasn't selling it, so I just said I got rid of it." I was like, I respect it, dude. I was like, I respect it,
Yeah.
but when I built that one, I was like, I'll bring it over to your house and we'll compare it to the real one and we'll play them and see what they sound like and everything. So yeah, I was just like, I text him pretty much straight away. I was like, "Bro, I got the real one," and he's jealous because he always wanted the yellow one and he couldn't get it. So he has the exact same
Oh,
one
hell
that
yeah.
I have, but just the real version of it. So I was like, I want to do a 1-to-1 comparison. So yeah, dude, I'm fucking excited. Sorry, I have to spend 6 minutes talking about it at the start of the fucking cast.
I'm sure everyone's excited for you, man. Like
I
that's
know
really big. That's something that you've always
it's
wanted to
huge.
get.
Yeah,
So
huge.
next question though is like, where are you gonna place it?
It's gonna take place for this one. This one's coming off the wall. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. Like it's like, I love that. I love that guitar. I take pride in the fact that I made that. And one of my friends was like, "Oh, sell it. Like, you might get like 700 or 800 like euro for it." And I was like, I kind of want to keep it though, because like I made it, and it's kind of sentimental to me
Like
now.
a personal
Yeah.
item.
So, but I'll kind of keep that one maybe kind of floating around the house that I can just kind of pick up and play whenever. Like I'll put that downstairs maybe. But the main, like the real one's gonna go up on the wall, because to the right of it I have my other guitar, which sometimes I swap them around and you'll see it on stream sometimes. But it's an official like signature from Tom as well. So I'll have the two signature guitars, like his two generations up on the wall. It's gonna be epic.
Oh hell yeah. Uh,
Fuck yeah, dude.
so
Any Blink fans, if they're in the chat right now, they're gonna be creaming over this because they know. But if you don't like
yeah.
Blink, you don't give a shit. I saw someone talking to the chat about One Piece already. So we're gonna save the anime for the end of the stream. I'm sorry, we're not talking about anime first, because once Alex gets going, that's it. It's over. So we're gonna talk Secret Invasion first. We might go into a bit of nerdy news from the week if there is any, and then we can talk about anime at the end. Because spoiler alert, I did start Demon Slayer. I'm like 9 episodes in, maybe.
Damn.
So, yeah, we got to talk about that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some shit to talk about. That's cool.
Hell yeah. Smash the guitar? No, never. It still cost me like 500 euro to make the thing. Like I bought the guitar itself for like 240 euro, and like, which was really cheap. But it didn't look like that. So I was like, I'll buy it just for the color. And I was like, I'm gonna buy the pieces to turn it into a tom guitar. So the other pieces probably cost the same price as the guitar again. Like so, but still, it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't. I wouldn't break it or anything. Fuck that. So yeah, look, let's get into Secret Invasion. Sorry guys, if you're listening to us on a replay, I apologize, but yeah, I was nerding out there. Episode 4. Episode 4. Talk to me. What did you think?
I honestly, man, I'm really trying not to have such a huge bias for the show itself, considering that like we can't necessarily do the exact same thing that we want to do in terms of like the comics, but it just it just still feels really generic, and I'm not like really impressed by it. The only thing I'm really impressed by was the conversation between Fury and his wife, basically, Priscilla.
Mhm.
Because that was a really interesting moment. That did feel like a comic book moment in the sense, because there are moments where like people just sit down and they talk about things, and
Which conversation are we talking about here? Sorry, is this the one in the flashback, or is this the one where they go to shoot each other with the guns?
The one where they go to shoot each
Oh
other.
yeah, okay.
Because
Yeah, there was two conversations in the episode. One was a flashback to 2012, just after the events of Avengers 1.
Mhm.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you could essentially like combine them both and say that like both conversations were well done. I do like that, because you do see the kind of like the human emotions of a scroll, which is kind of cool. But in turn, like if we were to compare this to the comics, we don't really get that like too often.
Yeah.
With scrolls, like scrolls are pretty like deceiving to be like in the first place. So like to see this, it's kind of interesting. it's a different take of it, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll let that slide.
Yeah.
But everything else, it just felt like, you know, I can't like any other like president under attack movie kind of
Yeah.
situation. Like
Air Force One
it,
is under attack. The MCU
yeah,
have
like
done it already as well. Like, you
it's
know what I mean?
fucking
They did it in
insane.
Iron Man 3, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
it's nothing new.
no, no. Gotta just quick comment on this because I find there's a lot of kind of controversy about Disney Plus around this week. This week again, I was going to cover it in the chatting later, but I suppose I'll bring it up since it's in the chat right now. Um, like honestly, if you can imagine to the end of like phase 3 of the MCU where like everything was just at like its all-time great, you wouldn't even like dream, like if we never like downed in quality and it just kept going, you wouldn't have ever thought that anybody would cancel their Disney Plus in the middle of a Marvel project. But now
Right.
like this comment here from Andre doesn't surprise me in the slightest. You know what I mean? I can fully see why people would cancel. The shows are just not hitting. And I don't know if you saw this, but there was an interview with Bob Iger during the week, or I think it might have even been just yesterday or the day before, where he basically said that they're going to be cutting funds from Star Wars and Marvel and cutting back on content because they say they're not seeing enough value in the content. And this is completely their own fault because they stretch budgets too thin and they put way too many projects on the table and just diluted all the content. But now they're
Right.
saying that they don't see enough of a profit from it. So now they're deciding to cut back, which is crazy.
It's just fucking ridiculous,
Crazy.
man. Like you would think that you'd want to pump a little bit more money into that situation.
Well,
The
you got to
funny thing
spend money
about
to make money, bro. That's what they say,
right.
right?
Exactly. And it's this corporate greed kind of situation where it's like, no, we just need to always profit, always profit. It's okay to lose money. It gives
Yeah.
you the incentive to be like, oh shit, we made something bad. So let's try not to do that again. And then they try to pump money into it and get it working back up and running again. It's that situation like, oh shit, I made garbage. I should make something good next time. And this is like, I don't know what the deal is with Disney right now, but nonstop, everything that they've made so far, like not just Marvel or Star Wars, but like Disney in general, like it's just going down the toilet, man. Like you've seen those live action remakes for like The Lion King, Aladdin, and whatnot. Like nobody's nobody's out and about going like, oh man, that was the live action was amazing. I love the animated, and the live action was so spectacular. It's just on par with the animated stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not happening anymore. Like they really tried to get into the live action game for a lot of these things, and it doesn't seem to cut well for them.
No. And I think again, and I heard this before, I believe the reason why they make the remakes is to hold on to for legal reasons to hold on to the properties. Because I think if they age a certain time, they have to release them. Again, I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but I believe like so say for example, if the Lion King reaches over 30 years old, I think there's like a lift of some of the owner's rights so people can start like
Mhm.
kind of chopping and maybe sampling it and using like vocals or whatever from it without getting sued by Disney. So
Right.
they make a live action remake just to kind of restart the clock and keep the property with them. You know what I mean? So it's again, it's back to what you said. It's just pure fucking greed. So
Yeah. And but the funny thing about this, and this is kind of going off on a different subject. Did you know that the Little Mermaid and Winnie the Pooh are now public domain?
no, I did not know this.
Yeah. Like the Little Mermaid's been public domain for the longest time. There have been tons of Little Mermaid-esque movies that have been released over and over and over again,
Wow.
which is really interesting. But recently the Winnie the Pooh one was just made public domain not too long ago. The only one that's still under rights is Tigger. So
Yeah.
we can't see that guy yet.
Wow.
Um yeah,
Chill him.
yeah, it became
Chill him. What's up, brother? Yeah, exactly.
it,
We need to do. And they did a Jack Frost horror movie as well, right? Jack Frost 2 was like a horror film or something
yeah.
like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's pretty cool, dude. I
Yeah,
love that it's like, oh shit, it's open, bros. Let's use it. Let's make a horror movie.
let's just make
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh a fucking killer.
How many kids' lives can we destroy who don't like read like the subject properly? Pure carnage, bro. To kind of just link back in with Secret Invasion for a bit, gotta just talk about how the episode itself was on par with the rest of the season for me. Like, I think the episodes are slowly, very slowly and very slightly maybe getting a little bit more interesting. I
Yeah.
honestly don't know. Like, I'm not even thinking about it enough, caring about it enough to even like really make a proper kind of judgment. I kind of just think I'm watching it for the sake of watching it, which is like a horrific thing for me to like a horrific realization for me, like where it's like, you know, Marvel is like so important, like comic books, everything, like all this stuff like is one of my deep passions, and it's like there's a fucking brand new MCU show out and it's just like I barely give a shit about it at all. I'm just
Yeah.
watching it for this case of watching it. Like this Wednesday, like I don't usually stream over on Twitch on Wednesdays. It's usually my night off. So I went to the gym after work and I came home and I said to my missus, I was like, she was like, oh, I might go to bed soon. And I was like, I completely forgot. I was like, we actually have to watch fucking Secret Invasion. I was like, I completely forgot it was Wednesday. So I'm genuinely forgetting that it's out. I was like, this is absolutely insane. It's like, I don't know, bro. Like, and like, you know, the whole Rhodey thing, right? Like, you know, there was a big reveal. It wasn't really a shocker or a reveal to me. I think it was
Yeah.
leaked. It was leaked about a year ago, and even if it wasn't leaked, it was so fucking obvious that it was going to happen. Like, and just when it did happen, I just feel like nobody's talking about it on the internet. Like, you know, when something big like that happens, you would expect like all the big kind of like comicbook.com, all these places to be putting out these crazy articles and
Right.
diving into deep lore and all this stuff. And like, I even think that I don't even know if like new rock stars are making breakdown vids for this. I haven't even seen a new Rockstar video for this being like pushed to me in the algorithm, like, which is again another shocking thing. Like how is that not happening? You know what I mean? Like there's people like Den and Nerds and stuff like that. Like I watch their videos every day anyway, so the algorithm doesn't even need to do that for me because I know what's
Mhm.
coming, you know. But like, you know, like heavy spoilers I know is doing stuff for it. But again, it's not getting pushed to me. It's weird. I don't
I
see it. You know what I
I
mean?
did see one from like Screen Crush, and that
Okay.
one was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's basically exactly what we're talking about, which is like, yeah, okay, we know it's a scroll. Oh, the big the real surprise that it's a female scroll.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, sure,
But
but
like, yeah, who
it
cares?
doesn't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, who cares at all? Like it's one of those things where, yeah, okay, like it may have been leaked and whatnot. Maybe it would have been cool if like we'd have not had the leak, but even then, like,
I don't think normies knew the leak though. You know what I mean? Like I
oh,
like,
gotcha.
you know, like I think, you know, we obviously knew the leak because we're plugged in, right? Or I did anyway. Um, but I don't think standard fans knew it was coming, or maybe they did. Maybe they just knew. Like maybe it was just obvious to them in the storyline. But you know, the fact that this is again, it's a pretty big deal in the MCU. Like, you know, there's an Avenger out there, an Avenger. He's barely an Avenger, but yes, there's an Avenger out there who's a Skrull, and you
Mhm.
know, this should be like sparking conversation in the community. Like, how long has he been a Skrull? Oh my god, like, you know, like I need to go back and start watching movies. But like the way he's acting in the last maybe 2 or 3 episodes, like maybe in the first episode he felt like the normal Rhodey. Maybe, I don't know. I need to go back and watch it again. But like episodes 2 and 3, he's getting all lippy and cheeky with like Fury and all, and I'm just like, that's
I'm
not
like,
Rhodey.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
the
you know what
same
I mean?
way. I was
It's
like,
like, what
like what the
is
fuck?
this
You're
guy?
obviously a
Yeah,
scroll,
exactly. And then like in episode 4, it was outrageous how different he was and how like I was like, this is not Rhodey at all.
right?
So like, you know, I think if they had kept him the same, you might be scratching your head going, "Oh my god, how far back is he actually a scroll? You know, do we go back as far as Civil War? Is it further back again?" Like, you know,
Mhm.
I've seen a lot of people poking fun at it and doing memes of like the Terrence Howard stuff. Like, you know, it's like maybe the maybe the clone of Terrence went terribly wrong and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I love that. Like, but again, it just doesn't make sense as to why he's so different in the last like hour and a half of content in the MCU as opposed to him back in 2016. Like if they turn around and say, which again is one of the leaks that we heard that, you know, he might be a scroll from all the way back as far as Civil War. It's like, why is he so different then for like Infinity War, Endgame, all this sort of stuff? And like he's kind of acting like the real Rhodey, and then he just kind of flips the switch just for this show. I don't know,
It's
bro.
so weird. Yeah, like you
It
would.
seems lazy to me, dude. I think if they were
Yeah,
going to do the scroll thing and it was actually planned for for that long, which again I don't believe that it is. If they do try and pull this off and say, "Oh, we planned this all along," and he's been a scroll for the last fucking 6 movies he's been in, it's like, bro, come on, no, he hasn't. Stop,
yeah,
just stop. Don't even
no,
try and convince us of that because there's no fucking way you have him acting completely different just in this show. You know what I mean? Like if they go back and try and change history, fair enough, but don't say it's been the plan all along because there's no
right.
way. There's
Because
no way.
we've already had that with WandaVision. It was well done, to be honest. With WandaVision, it was Agatha all along. Like that was fun. That was interesting. This like you're absolutely right, man. If they try to do a cop out situation and go like, no, it's always been this way. Like it's always we've always Rhodey's always been a scroll at this point. It's
Yeah.
like I don't believe you, man. Like
No.
clearly you don't know the previous work that James Rhodes has done in the movies because he's not really an asshole.
No.
He's like he's a damage control kind of person. Like you know, of course he works for the government. He works like close to the president and whatnot. But like none of the times that we've ever seen Rhodes on screen during like the movies or any sort of shorts or even on or you know other things, it's always been like dude, like I'm just trying to do my job. Like, can you stop? Like, it's one of those. It's like that guy that's like, hey man, like I just need you to like chill out and like calm down and whatnot.
Yeah.
In in this one, it's like, bro, I'm gonna fucking blackmail you if you don't stop. And it's like, uh,
Rhodey would never
Rhodes,
speak. Yeah, he would never speak to Fury like that. Do you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like he's always talked to Fury with respect. And to be honest, I've never really liked his character anyway. Like I've always said, he's just like lives up Tony's arse, like, and just follows Tony wherever he goes. And you see it plain as day in Civil War, like, you know what I mean? It's like he's just like, oh, we have to sign the Accords, we have to, because that's what Tony wants to do. And then, like, the second that it's the second that Infinity War happens, he's like, "Hey, Cap, welcome back. I missed you, bro." And it's like, yeah, like they don't even reference that. It's like, you went completely against him. Like he just like
right,
falls back into line, like because Tony's not around and all. It's just no, bro. I've never really liked him, to be honest.
yeah. I mean, like, I do like the War Machine. Like, I do like War Machine a lot.
Cool. Yeah, War Machine
Yeah,
looks very cool. I don't know if it's Don Cheadle or just the way they portray the character, but I just think of him as just Tony's little puppet, like.
right. I think it really has to do with either the budget or their inability to really put out War Machine.
Mhm.
Because if you really think about it, how often do we really get to see Rhodes in his outfit, in his like suit? Like not very often. Like we see
Endgame is the last time I remember. Like
yeah.
when they did the time travel scenes. That was the last time he was in the suit. He went with who did he go with?
Oh god, I
He went
forgot.
to get the Power Stone. He went and saw the or like the original version of Pratt and all, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. And then
Yeah,
he took off early. And then
yeah.
yeah,
She ended up
Nebula got
staying.
captured.
Nebula got
Yeah,
captured. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's the last time you kind of see him in the suit. I think that was 5 years ago, bro.
Right.
Like, you know what I
And
mean?
and like I'm almost like reaching this point where I'm thinking like I guarantee you, man, we're gonna see the real Rhodes and he's gonna be in the War Machine outfit because that's what everybody's wondering is like, does the scroll have the War Machine suit?
I don't think so.
Or yeah, and it's because the real one does, of course,
I,
right?
I I don't know. I think the real one's probably captured. The way they're hooked up to those machines, and you can get into their memories and stuff, like the way
True.
Gaia did it. When she was trying to get the code in the previous episode. I
Right.
think I think we're probably gonna see um Gaia or somebody, well maybe not Gaia now, but we'll see one of them kind of doing a little strut down the corridor, and we're gonna see all the people that are scrolls, and we might actually end up seeing a couple of people that we haven't even seen in the show. I wouldn't be surprised if they did this. So as they're walking down, they might reveal a couple of scrolls that we haven't even seen in the story. So you might get like Sharon Carter, for example, or
Right.
I don't know, somebody else like that's already a scroll, which would be interesting. But then I guarantee you're going to see like Rhodes there. You're going to see the original Ross there as well, because remember he was a
Yeah.
scroll in the first episode. So you're
Mhm.
just going to see all of them hooked up to those machines, I would say.
Yeah, and like and going to that point where the experiments were being made and they're doing the scroll program, I feel like it's a very lazy kind of story as well, considering that we already knew that Gaia was okay. Like we
Yeah,
knew that
of
Gaia
course.
had she infiltrated the scene with like all the experiment going on and understanding that there is a super scroll program going on. She's not dumb. She's gonna go and take a look and see what's actually happening, and she's gonna just do it. Like she's gonna take that experiment because she has, underlying plans that we don't fully understand yet. Like with Talos, like I'm kind of wondering like how Talos is gonna be in the next episode. I'm sure that like he's not gonna be surprised that Gaia is still alive. Um,
Yeah,
considering that she took the program. But to be completely honest, I feel like this is the most boring version of like introducing super scrolls ever, considering that if it works, then why aren't you making everyone a super scroll? Because that's
yeah,
exactly what they did in the comics, which is like, and I really am trying not to compare too hard into the comics, but if you have a super scroll program and you want all your scroll family to be like so powerful so that you can overpower the humans in this situation, why is it that only Gravik is the one that's like main like having the ability to do that kind of stuff? Like we should be seeing like if all you have is Groot and Extremis and the Frost Beast and like some other shit, give it to your group, man. Like have
yeah,
everybody like go chaotic. Like
yeah,
make it insane. Make us feel like shit is not like under control at all.
yeah,
Because at this point, I still think it's under control. I don't see how the scrolls will even get out of this.
yeah, yeah. Like, and you know, I think again, like it's just it's not like very it's not very like kind of like the wow factor is not there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like you're watching this like scene at the end of the episode where the convoy gets attacked and it's just it's so lackluster again. Like it's like a scene that should be cool because there's explosions and shit. And I liked when Talos got shot and he was kind of half
Yeah.
like transforming back. And I loved the SWAT guy. He was kind of like, oh my god, it's an alien. And then he's like, Fury's like, he's cool, bro. He's with me. And then he's like, okay, you're my friend. Like I was just like, what? Yeah, it was so bad, bro. It was like, what the hell are we watching here? And then he's like trying to save him. The two of them are like buddy cop movie. Like I was just like, this is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you saw an alien, I don't care if Fury says he's with me. Like you're gonna be kind of freaked out. Like you're not just gonna be like, okay, friend, let's go. Let's try and save your life now.
Right.
It felt so weak to me, dude. Like it was just
It's
ugh.
horrible. Like it's
Yeah,
like I get it. Like, they're not supposed to know that scrolls are amongst the humans, but like I don't know, like have something a bit more believable. If he saw that Talos was changing, at least fire at him and then Fury's like, "Fuck it, stop."
that'd be
And then
funny if
like
he got shot again. He'd be like, "Oh, you fucking prick," or something. Like,
yeah,
and then
like
he's like, "Whoa,
and
whoa,
that would
whoa,
have
hang
been
on." Yeah,
and
yeah,
that
it
would
would
have
have
been
been.
fine cuz then it's like, "Oh shit, like now he's like so in danger because both sides don't know who to attack."
Yeah, yeah,
And that would have been more believable. But like exactly what you said. Okay, he's our friend now. I'm
yeah,
okay. What what are you doing, man?
yeah. It was bad. Question for you: Do you, or I don't know if you know this or not, but say for example, like Gravik transforms back to his scroll version of himself, right? The true
Right.
version of himself. Can somebody else who's a scroll, like, could Gaia transform into the scroll version of Gravik? Like, can the scrolls copy each other and like pose as each other, the real versions of each other? If you get me.
Yeah, I I don't think that's possible. I think it's only things that are not them that they can transform into.
Yeah,
I think if it's amongst them, it's probably not worth it. So maybe
yeah.
they don't know how to do it amongst each other.
Because I was gonna say, imagine like Gravik is actually becoming Gaia and like going to the meetings with Talos and stuff, but it's not actually Gaia and all, like like
Right.
true fucking kind of brain scratchers. You be kind of like, oh shit, who's who? Like here, like that's kind of how confusing I think the show should be, because you should be having people just scratching their heads, going, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah,
Like that.
like
That'd be fun. Like make it
yeah,
really, really confusing, because then people have to pay attention. You know what I mean? People,
right.
I'd say people are sitting on their phones. Like that whole scene, the flashback to 2012. I didn't care about anything they were talking about in the restaurant. I was kind of like, oh, cool, 2012. And then I was like, oh, Paris, right? Okay. And then, like, you see the she puts up the paper and it's like, okay, we've established it's after the events of the movie, but it's like,
Mhm.
I don't care. I don't care what's happening here. You know what I mean? And then the scene where they're in the house and they shoot at each other, I was like, that was kind of like, oh shit, maybe one did kill the other. And I'm still holding ground that the Fury that we're watching here is a Skrull and he's not the real Fury. I still think that is the case. Yeah, I don't know. Like if you go and watch the trailer for the Marvels, like Fury doesn't look like that in the trailer, and that's supposed to take place after this, right? He kind of
Right.
looks more so like the older Fury. And if you watch the first trailer again, where you see Fury come down from space, he looks a bit different to the Fury that we've been following as well. Like he looks like he's more cleanly shaved. He doesn't have as many grays, so on. So I think this is a scroll as well, and just how Fury and Talos are acting around each other. I wouldn't be surprised if this version of Fury that we're watching the whole time is actually Talos's wife.
I mean,
Because you know they do like the kind of the forehead touch and stuff like that.
right, right.
Kind of, and they're kind of shaky and arguing all the time, like a married couple would.
Like yeah, like a regular married
time.
couple.
Yeah, exactly. So I get that vibe very much off the two of them. So yeah, that's not going to surprise me at all if that gets revealed next week or whatever.
You know, thinking about it now as well, you know, when you think about the Marvels movie, um, with it happening much later in the timeline, it kind of like squashes a little bit of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those moments of like, oh yeah, Fury's up there in the Marvels movie, so obviously
This
like
goes well. That
yeah,
mission
obviously
goes
things
well.
go
Yeah,
as planned. So
yeah.
it's not really giving us the incentive that like things actually went wrong. You
Yeah.
know, the only thing I can say is like if they kill Fury and then Talos is still alive and he's like, I will forever just take over as Fury so that, you know, they don't think that Fury's gone, then
Jesus,
I
don't be giving them ideas like that, man. That would be terrible. Oh my god.
it would be terrible. Like it
Yeah,
just
Jesus.
like it
Ugh.
wouldn't fit. It'd be uncomfortable.
Yeah, that'd be
But
awful.
I mean, you know, we're still 2 episodes away from finishing this, so you never know what's going to happen. And you said it yourself. You said that episode 5 is going to be like it's supposed to be the bombshell. It's supposed to be like the big thing
I believe
that
so.
goes
Yeah,
on.
I believe so. Yeah.
So, I mean, uh, here's hoping that we get something insane, like maybe another hero popping in. You know, I would love to see at least one more hero somewhere. Like, I don't care if it's, I don't know. I just like it's one of those moments where like I don't really know who can pop in now because it's like way too deep into the show.
Falcon's
Um,
the only one I could think of that would make kind of sense to come in and would kind of fit because he had his own Disney Plus show. I'm thinking of like
mhm,
real life, Mackie. If he came in as Captain America, him and Rhodes have a bit of a relationship, so maybe I could see him showing up. And obviously, he's Captain America now, so the fact that Fury ends up back on Earth, Captain America is going to want to meet up with Fury. So I think
yeah.
if you're going to get an Avenger in, maybe it might be Falcon
Mhm.
or
See,
Bucky, maybe, or somebody like that.
see, and that's what's bothering me right now is like,
Who else?
you know,
Who is there? Who else is there? Like,
yeah,
we're
who's
not getting we're not
around?
we're not getting Tom Holland. Tom Holland hasn't been acting for the last year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he went on hiatus, right?
Yeah, like, and he did that show for Apple before that, so he hasn't really he hasn't done any work in the MCU since No Way Home. So, like,
Right.
I know for a fact it's not going to be him. And if it is him, it's like a double in a suit with AI or something.
Mhm.
And I would love that. That'd be fantastic. You know what I mean? We don't need Tom Holland on set, as we've said this 100 times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give us a stand-in with the mask on, doesn't take the mask off, and they can use AI or chop up, fucking slice and dice with fucking vocals and just get some lines in that he's already said. You know what I mean? Like they own, well, Sony own the likeness, but they're agreed that they can use the likeness. So why not? Like
Dude, like the AI situation,
such a simple win, like bro.
right? The
Oh yeah,
AI
the AI stuff.
situation,
Yeah,
it's
that would
getting
be.
fucking insane, dude.
Yeah,
Like I don't know about you, but I've been crossing a ton of like TikTok videos of like Plankton doing different voices for different songs. Like he's
yeah,
doing Bruno Mars, he's doing like
yeah,
Lady Gaga shit, and Patrick's
yeah,
doing like
yeah.
country songs. It's like what the fuck?
I've been seeing like dead rappers doing like songs that are out now, and it sounds perfect.
It's
Like
weird.
scary,
It's
scary
fucking
good. Yeah. Like Juice World, for example. It's like here's Juice World singing an Eminem song, and it sounds perfect. It's as if Juice World like recorded the song. So yeah, I think and I think that's one of the reasons why the strikes are going on at the moment, right? because they're kind of freaking out that maybe people aren't getting enough for their likeness and all this sort of stuff, and
Right. Because
extras aren't getting paid enough,
yeah,
all
because
this sort of stuff.
as much as you want to have fun with all that kind of stuff, someone's got to get paid.
Facts.
You
Yeah.
can't just take it and go like, yeah, it's just a different voice. No, no, motherfucker, it's the same song. It's just you
Yeah.
added some shit. It's literally Vanilla Ice all over again.
Yeah, for sure. I like 100%. And in the music industry, you can't just do it. Like, there's big repercussions. Like, I think I saw a clip with Sting before, and P Diddy didn't go to him and ask him to use like one of his vocals, and he's like, that motherfucker owes me like $700,000 every year for the rest of his life now because he didn't use my likeness properly, and I sued him. And you know what I mean? Like, P Diddy doesn't make music anymore. I'm sure he's got money, but he owes nearly $1 million a year to Sting for the rest of his life. Like, it's fucking insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
crazy shit.
but P Diddy, man, like that dude's always on top no matter what, though. Like I feel like he's always just got shit rolling.
I haven't heard anything about that guy since that clip was the last thing I heard of him. And I does he make music anymore? I don't even know. Like I'm sure he does some business shit. He probably has clothing lines and all that sort of stuff and record labels and blah blah blah. But he's definitely not. Well, if he is making music, it's not reaching over here. That's for sure.
Right. I think he's probably just doing product, like you said, and maybe just doing some cameos here and there. He was in movies as well, and he's a funny guy too. So like, I would love to see him in more movies. I'd love to see P Diddy in fucking Marvel. Fuck it, like throw him in there. We've already got Megan Thee Stallion in there at one point.
Oh Jesus! Don't even bring that up, please. That was some of the worst shit that's ever happened to Marvel. Like, honestly. That and Lizzo in Star Wars is some of the worst shit that I've ever seen in my life. Like, honestly, like I can't even get words out now. I'm so angry thinking about it. Like, it's that shit drives me crazy. Like, what the fuck are Disney thinking? Like, it's wild.
And I know most people love Jack Black, but I don't give Jack Black a pass.
I don't either. And I would have if he actually acted like a different person. He's a good actor. I love Jack Black. But he was just Jack Black in Star Wars, and it was just like, no, bro. No, please stop. It's like that Michael Scott meme. No, please God, no.
Oh, please God.
Yeah.
Why are you the way that you are?
Yeah. Did you see Lizzo actually got a nomination for that as well, which it makes me fucking ill.
That's mind blowing.
Makes me ill, bro. That means, like, honestly, I think if I went into the MCU, I have a fucking shot of getting nominated for something if that's the case. Like, because she was fucking terrible. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Like, there's so much like controversy around her as well. Like, everyone saying she's beautiful and all this stuff. Like, it's like, no, she's not. Like, stop. Like, please. Like, come on.
It's this whole new situation where the world wants to see everything as beautiful nowadays. And
yeah,
I mean, beauty, like everyone said, like it's that back thing of like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I would say, God damn, everybody's like really trying to just put wool over everyone's eyes and say everything's beautiful nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's annoying, man.
Yeah. I'm all for it. Like, I don't want people to feel ashamed of who they are, but at the same time, you can't be promoting these people as, fucking front page models and all this sort of stuff. Like, that's not the real world. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
right. And like, yes, like you do the whole objective thing. Like, yes, like objective beauty is a thing, but like for me, like, I would say personally, like a beautiful person is someone who is like likable, who you can really like dig, who you really like have a conversation with and whatnot. Like, anybody that I feel like I can have a rapport with can be, in the sense, like beautiful in my eyes. So like, Pinto, you're a handsome man.
Thanks, man.
I gotta tell you that.
Thanks, bro. But even I know I'm not getting front page shit. You know what I mean? That's just the world that we live in, and I fully accept it. And that's fine. And I'm not gonna cry about it. Like, but the fact that like, all these people are being kind of like, honestly, it's gotten to a stage where if I see like newspapers like posting on Facebook, like, Lizzo's a queen, she's and all this stuff, I just block the page like straight away. I'm just like, I can't look at this. I can't look at this shit. I'm sorry. Like, it's absolute dog shit. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's ridiculous.
We're in an era where praise is like huge nowadays, and nobody wants to be bullied anymore. And it,
Yeah,
like I completely agree. I like don't bully people. Don't ever
yeah,
bully people.
100%.
But but come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like come
And
on.
what's funny, and I'll drop this in a second because we're going way off here, but I saw some funny clips online where it was like these like kind of influencers on podcasts and stuff on TikTok. I'm sure you've seen plenty of the clips as well. But there's like these girls and like, they're talking about how like, oh, Lizzo, yeah, she's a queen, blah blah blah. And then like the guy who's like the presenter or whatever is just like, you're looking like Lizzo today. And they get offended. And it's like, what do you mean I look like Lizzo? What are you talking about? And then like your man's
they
like,
don't even
you just said she was beautiful. And it's like,
they
you
don't
look
even
like
believe their
Lizzo.
own words. Oh
Exactly,
no.
bro. Shit made me laugh, bro. That
That's the
shit made me
problem,
laugh.
man. Like nobody wants to be real anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. The world is a very scary place, and
We,
I fear for the world my daughter's going to grow up in. Like,
just make sure she
that way
doesn't
to-
end up an NPC.
yeah, no, absolutely. She'll be a real one. She'll be able to be protecting herself and everything, and
Good.
she'll be a little nerd like all of us. One of us. She has no choice. Yeah, look, so I don't really have anything else to say about the episode 4 of Secret Invasion. Do
Just
you have
what are your
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have any
predictions?
for episode 5? Because let's just go into the theory and praise and hopes. Like, I think you might be on the right track with maybe somebody of importance showing up. You know, I did hear something a long time ago about Sharon Carter. I don't know if it was like proven right or wrong or debunked or whatever, but I think that one makes a lot of sense, because the whole power broker thing was absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. Like the last time we saw Sharon Carter, she's helping Steve Rogers and blah blah blah. Like, and it just didn't really make much sense that she would turn to a life of crime and become a big crime boss,
Right.
stealing art and all this sort of shit. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. So I think if there was a big reveal at the end of episode 5 that she was a Skrull as well, I'd just be like, yeah, that's so fucking obvious. You know what I mean? Like, it's like she just wasn't herself at all for that entire show. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, if it was somebody like of real importance, like I think the wow factor would be if we find out that like Doctor Strange or something is a Skrull. I suppose they can't do the magic thing. That really wouldn't make sense.
No, they can. Well, if they had the scroll program working the proper way, it would matter. Like, it would make sense.
So yeah, could they do? I suppose in the comics, would they be able to take some of Strange's DNA, put it through that machine, then give that Skrull the powers of Strange?
that's exactly what they did in the comics, man.
Wow. Yeah, that's a scary thought, bro. That's scary.
So I know that we're going to continue on this, but I wanted to ask: did you happen to check out the comics yet?
I didn't, bro. I didn't have time this week. It was a busy week, but I have, again, as I said last week, I have the comic behind me on the shelf. I'm gonna pull it out after this one, and I'm gonna leave it here just to remind myself to start it, and I'll chip away at it. Like, how big is the book? Like, is it like 10 issues or something? Or
I think it's 8.
Okay, yeah. If I do 2 issues, I'll probably do like 2 issues or 3, maybe even on the first day if I get really hooked to it. And then if I do like 1 a day for the rest of it, I'll 100% have it done by next week.
That'll be fantastic, man.
Coming up to the end of the show, I definitely want to have the comic read. I actually think, to be honest, I probably done myself a favor by not reading it because
Right.
I'm watching the show and I'm not really as invested into the story of the comic. Whereas, Josh from the Den of Nerds, for example, big massive Marvel reader, and I heard him talking about it, like, he loves the comic and he was so excited when it first got announced for that reason, because he's like, oh my god, they're actually making this, like, thinking that it was going to be a telling of the comic book story or close enough. And then the show happens, and one of the first things Josh said after episode 1 was just like, why did they even name it Secret Wars or Secret Invasion? Like, it's like, it kind of
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense, dude. Like, and I know I said before, like, I really am trying not to compare like the comics and the show, but if you're gonna name it Secret Invasion, maybe give it some vibes of Secret Invasion from the comics translated into the show itself, because we as viewers, even the fans, understand it's fine if you're gonna change a few things. We just don't need drastic changes, because and in this case, Secret Invasion is a drastic change. There's nothing going on. It's there's no chaos. I don't feel the chaos. I don't feel anything in terms of like the show. In the comics, at like, I don't want to spoil it for you, man, but like at the beginning, it's chaos. Like
Yeah.
within the first few panels, they're like, oh shit. Within the next few panels, it's like, oh shit. And then like near the end of that first issue, big reveal. And then it's like shit's gonna go nuts.
Yeah.
And that's how fun it is.
Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to read it, but I think after episode 5, I'll have probably finished the comic as well. So I'll be going into the I'll be going into the finale probably raging at how bad it is. But I think for the first like 4 weeks anyway, 4 or 5 weeks, I'll be kind of clear of that kind of rage. So I feel like I've done myself a justice really.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of think maybe just getting back to predictions, I think, and I've just been thinking about this while you were talking, but I think, yeah, Sharon Carter, I think would not shock me. Also, I'm gonna say we might see a scene where the president of the United States gets killed and a scroll takes over as the president of the United States, if that hasn't already happened. I think that's probably already in place. But if it isn't in place, if they establish that it's not in place, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like that. Because like if we have a scroll version of Rhodes that close to the president, how the hell is the president not one as well?
Right.
You know?
And yeah, like that would be fun because considering that like you'll see in the comics like how many different people are actually scrolls.
Yeah.
You'll see it. Like you'll see like this like there's going to be panels of it of like holy shit. Like I'll give you one. It's not that big of a spoiler. Stephen Colbert's face is there and he's a scroll.
Brilliant.
It's fucking awesome. Like it names of actual people from our real world.
Yeah.
Are scrolls.
I like that, and I to tip the hat to Disney a bit as well. Like I don't know if you've seen any of this, but I've seen a couple of TikToks where like they're doing like advertisements where there was one like where like a dude's having like road rage or something. I don't know if you saw this. And he's like, beeping at the guy, go, bro, go. And like, it looks like a normal TikTok. And then a scroll gets out of the car and you're just like, oh, your man's like, oh my God. So they're kind of doing like promos where they're sticking scrolls into the real world. I think one was caught on like one of the like Fox News or CNN or something, walking in the background of like a news report. So like stuff like that, I'm like, that's very cool. Like, but they're not even doing cool shit like that in the show, but they're doing it in real life. It's kind of crazy to me. Like,
no, and they should have like increased that marketing or advertisement by going ham by this point. Like I would say by episode 5, we should see, I don't know, we should see Jimmy Fallon on stage and like they have a cut of him turning into a scroll at like they cut the scene and then he turns into a scroll and he's like, that was great, like whatnot. And like he's just having fun, being a scroll. Jack Black is a scroll. I don't know, like you just like you change people into scrolls and like it just makes it much more fun that way. And that's what I really think the comic was like trying to convey. It's like anybody could be a scroll.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that anymore. It's like, all right, cool. There's the advertisement. The show started. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. It's a rough one, dude. It really is. Like I had so much more promise for this show, and like Disney Plus have been really letting me down. And again, back to what kind of Andre said at the start of the cast, he's canceled his Disney Plus, and like I'm not surprised. But the fact that there was an Obi-Wan Kenobi show last year, again, I was like, you'll remember, like I was like fucking giddy for that show. I couldn't wait. Yeah. And then like She-Hulk again, I was like, oh my God, like Daredevil's going to be in. I was like, how can they fail? How can these shows fail? Even if they're terrible, they're going to be brilliant. And they've been so bad that I can understand why people are just saying, fuck this, like I'm out.
Yep.
And I believe since like the start of Disney Plus, they've lost like over 1 million subscribers.
And that's insane, man. Like it makes me think of like WoW proportions of like losing subscribers, because like as you get through the different expansions in the WoW universe, like it slowly gets worse and then it gets better and then it gets worse, because like after like every expansion brings some newcomers because they're excited to see it. And then they're like, this sucks, and they drop off. So like it's just it's reaching that whole like that same level in terms of like video games, like for stuff like that as well. Like it's mind-boggling, man. Like how do you, like I know you want to make money as a corporation, but like you got to shell out some good shit sometimes, man.
Bro, money comes and goes as well. Like, and I think at some point they need to realize that there's a legacy involved here as well. Like these movies and TV shows are forever. They're forever. Like, you know, there's kids
Mhm.
coming up now. Like my kids are gonna turn around and say to me, like, "Oh, Dad, can we watch the MCU?" And I'm gonna be like, "Fuck yeah, we can. Thank God you're asking me." And we're gonna go and watch it all. And there's gonna be times where they're gonna be like, "Jesus, that movie was bad." And like that's forever, that's history now, like, you know. So it's like these like, and when it comes to phase 4 and 5, it was literally down to them just going, you know, let's spread out the productions, let's, you know, have something on Disney Plus every Wednesday or every Friday. You know, it's like they let the business get in the way of the creativity, and that creativity is now stuck in history forever. And people are going to be like, see, phase 4 was shit, or phase 5 was terrible, and like look at all
Mhm.
the mistakes they made, look at how shit this looks. Like imagine going back in like 10 years time, 15 years time. Imagine how good TVs are going to be. Imagine how good like streaming services are going to be, and your internet's going to be. So they're going to be pumping out 8K or 12K or whatever the fuck it's going to be on, 16K, and it's going to just look like real life. It's going to look like you're looking out a window and you're looking into the world of the MCU. But you're going to go back and watch like phase 4 and 5, and you're going to be like, hang on a second, how the hell am I watching Man of Steel that came out in 2013? How does that look better than something that's out in 2023? That doesn't make any sense. What the hell's going on here? You know, like, and you're just going to objectively look at these things like just episodic things, and you're going to be like, how did the quality just dip so far down, and how did the acting get bad, and how did the characters get bad, and where the fuck did the Avengers go? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, imagine sitting back and watching all this stuff years and years later as a new fan, just going, whoa, what the hell happened? Like, I already know, like, you know, you're gonna go through the whole MCU, you're gonna get to like Civil War, and you're gonna be like, you know, I'll be like hitting my kids going, like, you know, here we go, it's about to fucking ramp
Yeah,
up.
it's gonna
This
get
is
fucking
it.
nuts.
This is it. Strap in. The next 2 weeks of movies is gonna be crazy, guys. And then it's like that'll finish, and then they'll be like, oh my god, what's next? What's next? I'll be like, yeah, it's gonna get shaky for a little bit, guys. But there's a few good movies in here, but it's gonna be pretty bad.
Yeah. And that's one of the cooler things about this kind of situation is that as much as I don't like this series right now, we do have a lot of things to look back on. And because you're going to be raising your child on Marvel and DC, like you're going to have the golden age of MCU. You're going to have the silver age of MCU, which is like reaching into like phase between phases 2 and 3 to the end of phase 3. And I would consider right now phase 4 and 5 are probably it's probably going to be the dark ages where
Yeah, yeah.
we're really not going to have
Hopefully,
a-
hopefully it doesn't get
like
any worse than this, bro. Again, we
dude,
can't see the
like
future, but it could. It could get well. This could be the
it,
silver age that we're in right now. You know?
so so me being a big nerd in my head, this is what I kind of relate this to. So I don't know if you've ever played Dark Souls.
No.
Okay, so I'll explain it to you just very briefly. There's this whole situation where there's these stone dragons, and then you have the gods. The gods want to destroy the stone dragons because they've like taken over for long enough. This is a very like abridged version. Like I'm not doing this verbatim. You know, you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. By all means, correct me. So you have the gods, they carry the flame, and they're like, we need to preserve this flame, so we're going to split this up between four lords, or five, 4 or 5, I can't remember. And basically they kill the dragons or destroy as many as they can to put them in hiding. They were betrayed by one of their own dragons, and then like it's this age of gods.
Yeah.
And then you have the hollowed, which are like they don't have a soul in the sense like they have their dark soul. Um, Originally supposed to be called the Dark Ring, but you can't say that in in the UK apparently, so they had to change it to Dark Soul. Um,
Yeah. Okay. That's fair enough. Because that's basically
so
like the dark asshole.
yeah, yeah. So you as the character have two options within the first Dark Souls like episode or game, which is to continue to rekindle the flame and keep the age of gods alive in the sense, or snuff out the flame and create the dark ages or the age of man. And this is how it feels right now, man. They snuffed out the flame and we're
Yeah.
now in the age of men, where it's like there's no gods among us anymore. We don't have Iron Man. We don't have Captain America. We don't have Thor. We don't even have Hulk.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
like
Where's Banner?
yeah, where is Banner? And I
He's
know he
not-
was in off planet, but like this is after the events of She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Like shouldn't they have a brilliant mind working towards like working on this kind of situation?
Yeah. Dark times, bro. I think you're right. These might be the dark ages.
It's fucked. Like, and you know, you never know. It might revert back, you know, but it's going to be a while because we have to kind of go through the shit from what it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, we do. And it's rough. It is rough, but I think, you know, there are some projects that give me hope. Obviously, Secret Wars and, you know, Daredevil, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Deadpool 3, which is coming out very soon. Like, you know, Deadpool 3 is out in less than a year. And, you know, fingers crossed that movie is like just absolutely epic. Like, if that movie is, you know, Spider-Man No Way Home, but just with the Fox characters, I'll be so happy. I really will. Like, I just, it still blows my mind to think about how good No Way Home was. Like, how much I like cherish that film, and I even rewatched it, the fun edit, so the extended one. I rewatched it again during the week, like, and it's just so good, bro. It's so good. Like, Tom is such a good actor in that film. Like, he just really kind of hit his peak as Spider-Man, and then having obviously like Toby and Andrew back, who I grew up loving. Like, if we can go now and get this Deadpool 3 movie where we've got Jackman, we've got Deadpool, like Ryan Reynolds, like the two of them on screen alone. As I keep saying, $1 billion movie even without anybody else. But, you know, we're getting the rumors of Halle Berry, we're getting, you know, Magneto, we're getting Patrick Stewart, everybody, like the whole Fox universe are potentially going to return for this movie. And, you know, even like failed projects and canceled projects and all this sort of stuff. Like, so it's absolutely insane to be what's coming. But, you know, we're going through the trenches of shit to get there. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think I feel like we're probably, and this is, again, I kind of get a bit of shit on Twitter for saying stuff like this, but I feel like people like stuff like this. Like, people are defending shows like this and defending Star Wars right now because it's so shit. And people are kind of like, you know, oh, just be lucky that you have a show to watch. And, you know, like, you should be grateful that they're making this stuff. And it's like, fuck you, no way. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see good content, and I think they should be held
Mhm.
accountable for when they don't have good content. You know what I mean? Like, fuck that. Like, people just like, you know, oh well, Nick Fury's back. You know, you should be happy to be watching Nick Fury. It's like, fuck no, I want to watch something good. You know,
Yeah.
like, we shouldn't just have to sit here and just take what we're given and have a smile on our face. You know what I mean? We should be allowed to talk negatively about these stuff if they're not hitting properly, which they aren't. Again, like, how can Disney go from making Endgame to where we are right now? Go from making No Way Home to be where we are right now? It's just weird.
Right. And I know earlier you were saying, you know, we were both saying about the whole money situation and budgeting and whatnot. But I do also have to say that, like, the creative process in terms of who they give like creative work to, it also matters. Like, you can't have the wrong people writing scripts that don't make sense in terms of the universe that we're currently residing in. So, like, you know, you have all these writers, you have these directors, and when ask questions about, you know, wanting to relate to the comics, and they go, I didn't fucking read it, I don't give a shit about it, I don't care about it, I just want to write what I want to write. Like,
Yeah.
who, what do you mean? Like, what
Yeah.
is this?
Well,
It's
like,
horrible.
the fact that you've got actors coming in and they're being told, don't read the source material, just read the script. Like, that is red flag all over the place. That's red
Yeah.
flag number one. You know, don't read the source material, please. Just read this. Go by what I wrote. What I wrote
Right.
is better. You know, fuck that. No, no
And
way. Not in this medium. You know, I'd understand it if there was like, maybe, you know, if something was adapted from a book to like a thriller movie and it's like no connection to it's brand new shit. Like, you know, I would maybe understand, look, you know, we've written a script that's based on a book, but it's not really, so don't really read the book, just follow the script. I kind of
yeah,
understand that in that sense. You know,
right.
if it's like a one-off book, nobody really knows any of the characters anyway. You know, like, there's so many, like, I don't really read too many books. Like, you know, I've read a couple of autobiographies and stuff like that. I wouldn't sit down and read like thriller novels and all that sort of stuff. Um, so, you know, it's most movies that are out in Hollywood. And I didn't know this for years, but most movies are kind of based on books, and most TV shows are based on books. Like, everything's based on books. But the way that the kind of standard kind of just TV watcher and someone who doesn't read, you always kind of think that it's original material, but it's not. It's all based off novels. You know,
Mhm.
and the novels have completely different names and kind of different stories and stuff like that. Like, and that's kind of the way that they're trying to do this now. But you can't do comic book stuff like that. You know what I mean? You cannot take a story, especially like DC, Marvel. They've been going for like 80 years. You can't just like take those characters and just go completely off the walls with it. Like,
Right. Yeah, like they're basically taking a handful of stuff that's like within the comics and throwing it against the wall and trying to see what sticks.
yeah,
You know, and in some cases it works. It works just fine, but like I think we've reached a point where it's like you got to kind of articulate everything nowadays. You got to kind of like give us a reason to come back to the theaters.
yeah,
And it's working in some cases, like, you know, as much as like you and I didn't really feel for the Flash. I've seen a ton of people on different social medias that are saying that they actually like the Flash, and I'm like, my hats off to you, buddy.
Yeah, like to be honest, it wasn't the worst movie ever, and I said this when I first saw it. Like, it's a shame that the CGI is bad, and it's a shame about Ezra Miller. But the movie's like a 6 out of 10. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. I will rewatch it
No,
when it gets released digitally, in hopes that they've kind of put some more work into it.
of course.
But it's obviously not great, and like same with like Blue Beetle. I'll go see Blue Beetle because it's a comic book movie, and I see all comic book movies. But I can understand if people don't want to go see it. Like, it's fine. That's like the state of DC right now. And I think Aquaman's out in December. No one's gonna go see that fucking movie.
God, I
You know what I
forgot
mean?
about that.
Yeah, no one's gonna see that movie. Like, like I think Ezra's movie has kind of put the final nail in DC for the moment until they do their reboot. But I feel sorry for Jason Momoa now because I don't think, and then I know the first movie did over $1 billion. Like, he was really in his kind of prime when that movie came out. So I think people were going to see it who probably never even heard of Aquaman, but because they just fancy Jason Momoa and they want to go see him take his top off on the big screen, so I can
They did the
understand
same thing
that.
for Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, but I can understand that's fine. Like, I've nothing, whatever you want to do, that's fine. That's cool. But I don't think that's going to work this time around. You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
with the current state of Hollywood, I really don't think that this is like the box office are on track to have the worst year on record, I believe. So,
Yeah,
everything is failing all across the board.
right.
Animations, like live action stuff. Like, I really hope Oppenheimer does good. I think it will. And I think
So
Dune will
excited
be
for
a big
Oppenheimer.
I think Dune will be a big movie for Warner Brothers as well. But other than that, like the comic book stuff this year just really isn't hitting at all.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, man. And
Yeah.
but I do have to say though, man, like thinking back to when Peacemaker was made, like that felt like a love letter, man. That felt like such a fun fucking show.
Yeah, it was.
And
And to be honest, I think like if James Gunn turned around, I think James Gunn turned around and said that Blue Beetle is in DCU. I honestly think that he didn't want it, but I think he's probably said that he probably has to say that
Mhm.
because it's like, oh shit, if we bring out 2 more movies this year that aren't connected to the new DCU going forward, like people are just gonna not go see them. So I think they had
Right.
to. He kind of had to put a fire out and go, actually, this Blue Beetle's gonna stay. And I'd say maybe the only reason why that is because there probably isn't any other DCEU characters appearing in that film. There'll be references, but there won't be any actual actors showing up in it. So I'd say he was probably like, okay, this one's safe to be like the first DCU movie. But then he even
Gotcha.
says, like in later comments and stuff, that it's like, well, actually, Superman's the first movie, but he's the first character. So it's like, okay, so you're going to keep this character in your DCU, but you're not going to use him for a while. But his movie, like, isn't really DCU, but the character is DCU.
Right. And to be completely honest, like Blue Beetle looks kind of fun. The only thing that bothers me is like a few of the side characters that they have are starting to kind of sound a bit annoying, even in just the trailer.
Yeah,
But I'm super stoked to see Blue Beetle. Like I'm
yeah.
super stoked to see that character because like he's kind of goofy, but like he's cool.
It's
It's
cool. It's a
fucking
cool. It's
cool.
a cool concept for a character. Like, alien fucking technology fuses with a young teenage boy and turns him into a superhero. And isn't there a previous Beetle who's friends with Booster Gold, and Booster Gold's obviously from the future, and I think they have like opportunity to kind of tie it into some cool shit going forward in the
Yeah,
DCU. I'll watch.
I'm
I'll
excited.
watch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll
I'm
watch.
still excited for it. Like I really do want to see that. Like I think like,
Yeah,
and I just, I'm really hoping that they do a bit more on the ideas because when you think about it, with Blue Beetle's technology, as far as you saw in the trailer, they can form anything as long as he has like the idea of how to form it.
yeah.
So
It's
like
like
he
the
created,
lantern rings. Like, it's any
yeah,
whatever you can imagine. It's the same as the lanterns. Yeah,
exactly. And as much as I laughed at the fact that like all Hal Jordan could make was like artillery stuff and like jets and whatnot, and it's like,
He's an
come on,
army
man,
man.
you gotta have a like I'm thinking like, come on, man, you gotta have more imagination than that. But at the very least, like he made something. So like,
Yeah, that'll be interesting. And obviously, like with Blue Beetle being a gamer and all that sort of stuff, he can like he doesn't he get like a Final Fantasy sword or some shit in.
yeah, he kind of creates his own Buster Sword, which I think is
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah, yeah. It's cool. Look, yeah, we're over an hour into the stream. I'm gonna open the floodgates. Let's talk about anime. Chat, get excited, everybody, go for it. Alex, tell me, how far is the One Piece going?
Well, I like I said last week, I've actually stopped because I'm waiting for about another couple weeks. I want to really give it a sec to kind of soak in the next few episodes because I've read the manga, so I'm way ahead on the manga. So I already know what's going on. I already know
So
what's going to happen.
does the manga tell the story that the animation's going to tell, but just in comic form or whatever, and it's quicker or whatever? Or like, how does it work?
Yes, so like the way that anime and manga works is that when you read a manga, it's going to be like pure source. It's going to be just straight up. Here's panel, 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 panel. Here's the end of the book and whatnot.
Yeah,
In the anime, because you have to stretch a volume into an entire episode, it
yeah,
will it will get a slight bit slower because they need to increase the time frame so that it reaches that 18 to 20-minute mark.
yeah,
So in that sense, like for the people that I've said this before, for the people that are like, oh, One Piece takes too long, the pacing sucks.
yeah,
Um, like of course the pacing's like kind of bad. It's because it has to be like, you know, they with here. Let me pull back. Ichiro. I can't even say his name. Let me just say his last Oda or his first name. Oda made like certain arcs, and then the anime catches up.
yeah,
And Oda tells them, I need more time because I'm not done with this other arc that's coming up. And so then the people that are making the anime create what's called filler. And that's how One Piece works. So that's why there's so few episodes of filler for One Piece, because Oda has the story. It's just when the anime, even though it's taking its time, is starting to catch up to the manga. Like they're like, whoa, I need you to create some fillers so that we can kind of, bridge the
yeah,
gap. Or
yeah.
have I seen Garp in the last chapter? No, I have not. But I've seen like I need to read the current manga chapter right now. I haven't had a chance to take a look at it yet. I think it just came out this week. Yeah, and
Um,
Oda did have eye surgery, which is why like it's been a month since we even had a new manga chapter.
nice.
Fucking nuts.
So Andre asks, and I'll address this. So, I wouldn't mind having Andre on as a guest sometime.
Yeah.
So what I would say is just thinking about it very quickly. But what I would say is we'll finish Secret Invasion first, and maybe in one of the weeks where we don't have a topic, I think an anime special might be a pretty cool idea. So we can get
Yeah.
Andre in, and we can just nerd out over anime for the whole episode. And like I'll hopefully be we'll do it when I finish season 1 of Demon Slayer or something like that, and I can at least attribute some conversation. So, but I don't mind sitting back and listening to One Piece talk for fucking 40 minutes either. Like, I'm happy to kind of just be here and hang
Well,
and
I can
chat and
also
stuff.
I can also pop I can also finish up Arcane so that like
Yeah, you can watch
when
Arcane as well. Yeah, so we can have
yeah.
something else to
So
talk about. And
once we're done with
sure.
like Secret Invasion, I'll make sure to finish up Arcane or even Cyberpunk as well, and then like Andre can
Hell
pop
yeah.
in, and we'll just have a talk about those to
Yeah.
kind of like get you into the feeling of it.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. We'll pencil it in, Andre. It sounds like a date. Let's do it. Yeah, so look, I just to talk about Demon Slayer for a few minutes. So like I think I'm like 9 episodes in, and it's interesting. I'll say it like I'm very skeptical when I start one of these programs because it's like I'm not really into it, you know what I mean? So it's a bit of a gamble whether I'm going to enjoy it or not. But I did
Mhm.
watch the first episode, and I was like, shit, yeah, that was cool. I want to watch the second one. So, you know, um, I think I'm 9 in now, and I think where I just ended again. I'm terrible with names, so I'm not going to be able to name any of the characters. But there's the main dude. What's his name?
Tanjiro.
Yes. So he's just found like do you know when he goes into the city and he actually comes across the main kind of bad guy, but he's got his
Oh,
family with him and all, and then
yeah,
he
you
like
ran into
he
Busan?
yeah, yeah, and he quickly like
Oh,
does the little
fuck.
swipe just to kind of turn somebody into a demon, just to get the crowds going and all. But like he does this like quick fucking like vampire like swipe,
Yeah.
and oh that shit was crazy, bro. Like it was so cool. I really really loved it.
And he's like trying to hold him down, and then he's like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna find you, and I'm
I
gonna
will follow you
fucking
to the
kill
end of the
you.
earth. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was epic. It was really cool. Like I'm watching this and I'm just thinking, like, I even said this to my girlfriend, like, I know she'll never watch it, but I was like, if this was live action, we'd watch it and you'd enjoy it. Like, I was like, that's how good this is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dude,
So
and correct, like I feel like everybody agrees like that they really made Muzan look kind of like Michael Jackson.
yeah, it is kind of weird, yeah. And like he's got such like crazy eyes as well. Like, how would his like wife and child not be like, "Hey, yo, what's going on with your eyes, Dad?" You know?
Oh, like it's so weird.
No, it is cool though. It is cool. I'm looking forward to watching it a bit more. I actually find as well because I started watching it. I didn't really think anything about it, but I just threw on episode 1 when I was in the gym one of the days, and it came on just with like English dubbed, and I was just listening to it, and I was like, "Oh, this is fine. Like, I don't mind watching this. The voices weren't annoying or anything." So I was like, "I'm just gonna go with this," and I started watching it then, but I increased the speed to 1.5 because I find that they talk very slow, so I increased the speed. And it actually, like for me, for my ears, it plays perfectly. So I'm like, and I get to watch the episodes a bit quicker as well, which is great.
Right.
So like, even like some days I'm watching it on my lunch break in work as well sometimes. So like I'm going out, getting food, coming back to the office, and I have my own private office. So I'm sitting down with my food and I get to watch 2 episodes of Demon Slayer on my computer, like at lunch. So it's pretty fucking sick, dude.
That's great, man. Like I'm
cool.
really happy that you're able to play it at that speed and still enjoy it.
I'm used to it now because I listen to podcasts on that speed on like Spotify and stuff. So like if I'm listening to Joe Rogan or Michael Rosenbaum talking to guests, I have it on 1.5. That's just how I listen to podcasts now. Like one of the lads said it to me because I had said as well, I was like, how do you listen to so many like Joe Rogan podcasts because they're 3 hours long? And one of the guys was saying to me, it's just like 1.5 speed, bro. Just listen to it. You get used to it so quickly. And even like I was listening to Robert Kennedy Jr. He was on one of the podcasts. Was it I think it was Joe Rogan there a couple of weeks ago, and like he has a bit of a weird voice, so like his voice is kind of shaky and he kind of finds it hard to talk. But if you speed him up to 1.5, he's a lot easier to listen to as well, which is hilarious.
That's awesome, dude. And that's one of the podcasts I need to finish up on is Dungeons and Daddies. Like I've only gotten to like episode, I think, 26 or 36. I can't remember. There's a lot of fucking episodes for that, but that's literally like super nerding it out because they're actually doing Dungeons and Dragons, but in terms of them being like fathers who are trying to save their sons.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like it's a really fun concept, and I completely agree with you when it comes to podcasts. Even if you were to listen to our podcast, I completely understand if you put us in 1.5 or even 2 times speed. Because there are moments where it's like I'm going to go into a long spiel, Vinto's going to go into a long spiel. You kind of want to speed it a little bit,
dude. Like when Hoff was here, because he managed the Spotify for us, and I need to try and talk to him and see can I get access to it because I'd love to actually upload all these episodes onto Spotify. But I used to love re-listening to them on Spotify. Like while I was if I had a long drive or something, I'd throw us on 1.5 and I'd listen back. And then I'd like take screenshots of like parts that I'd go and clip out for shorts later. It was actually a really handy way to do it. And then he put a really nice kind of audio filter over the podcast as well. And we sounded so beautiful on Spotify. So maybe go check out some of our older episodes. It was so crisp. It was so nice. I miss that. Hopefully we'll get him back someday. I miss him every day.
I'm hoping so too, man.
Yeah. Do I know Graham Hancock? Yeah. So I've listened to a few of his podcasts. He's a wild character for sure. Amen.
I don't know him. So if you want to explain him a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of goes into like, if I'm not mistaken, he's big into like I think he has a documentary on Netflix at the moment. He's all about like kind of he studies like the previous ice ages and all that sort of stuff. So he's kind of talking about how like there was secret civilizations and all this sort of thing like years ago that were wiped out by an ice age, and Yeah, you'd love it. Like, there's a couple of really good Joe Rogan podcasts. If you just type in Joe Rogan, Graham Hancock, like you'll get all of the episodes that they've been on. And there's probably about like four or five podcast episodes. So you've probably got nearly like a day's worth of podcasting. But
Okay.
I'd recommend watching them on YouTube if you can, because they bring up a lot of like slideshows and like graphs and all this sort of stuff. So it's kind of better to watch what they're talking about rather than listen, because
Mm-hmm.
they bring up visual aids and stuff like that. Like there's another dude who he does a podcast with a few times. What's his name? I can't think of his name right now. Oh my god, it's Graham Hancock and somebody else. But the two of them are just these two fucking absolute geniuses. Like, and they're going through all this stuff, like talking about like, you know, archaeology digs and all this crazy shit. And they've got collected data going back thousands of years through doing like digs and stuff. And yeah, it's wild. It's really cool.
That sounds awesome. I'll
It is,
definitely have to
yeah.
check that
I
out.
probably explained it terribly, but I haven't listened to them in a long time. Like 10,800 BC. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah, they're talking about like there's evidence of an ice age like 12,000 years ago, and then if they dig down even further, they're seeing like, you know, wrecks of previous civilizations and stuff. Like
Mhm.
it's wild, and like
Which
it
it
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
It makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. Like a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of alien talk going around at the moment as well. Like just with
Yes, I've
with
noticed that.
everything that's going on, and it's great. It's amazing. It's a great time to be alive. Like I've believed in aliens like my whole life, and I think you'd be stupid not to. Yeah, honestly, like, you know, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of like stuff going around about, you know, like how potentially the aliens aren't actually extraterrestrials. They're maybe like previous versions of humans that, you know, maybe went off world after the last ice age and then came back to rebuild the civilization. That makes perfect sense to me. Like that, if that came out as being like true tomorrow, like if there was a someone who stood up and said like, I am from this civilization, we came back and like saved Earth and whatever, I would fully believe it. Like I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Like, you know,
Yeah.
perfect sense. So yeah, it's why like there's so much shit that you could. I might put I might put up another new channel in the Discord, just kind of talking about crazy shit, because there's a lot of crazy shit going on right now. Yeah,
Dude, I love the anime channel that was put up. Like it's not
yeah,
popping off like crazy, but it's still funny. Like just having a bunch of stuff
yeah.
in there.
Amen, amen. So yeah, like, are you and your missus still going through One Piece, or have you stopped
Yes.
that as well? So you are still doing your rewatch, but you've calmed down on the new stuff. You're letting the new stuff build up for you.
Yeah, just in terms of the anime because I'm still reading the manga.
Yeah,
But in where we're currently at in One Piece is that we just finished up Amazon Lily. We're moving into Impel Down, which is the Mexican security prison that like is underwater, which is housing Luffy's brother Ace underneath there, and he's been chained up, and I think he's in level 6. And so like it's one of the like one of my favorite moments because it really gets into this whole situation of like Luffy's been with his crewmates this whole time. Like this whole fucking time. Like yes, he's recruited people over time, but like for hundreds of episodes, it's been Luffy and maybe a few other people. Luffy and then the crew grows and whatnot. This is now just Luffy by himself and maybe just people that he met in the past. And
yeah,
it's really interesting for that because it's like this is like he doesn't have safety nets anymore. He doesn't have Frankie. He doesn't have Usopp, Chopper, Brook, Sanji, like Nami, Robin. Like none of them are there. They got sent out, and now they're trying to like understand where they are. And so like it's really fun in that sense because like when he crash landed on Amazon Lily, it's literally like the women's Amazon thing. Like no men step into that area, and Luffy happened to step in there.
gotcha.
Um,
Yeah.
and he gained the respect of the pirate empress Boa Hancock, which is like the princess of Amazon Lily, to the point where like she fell in love with him, and it was fucking hilarious because Luffy doesn't care about love. So like Hancock's like that's one of my favorite things is like Hancock is literally like fawning so hard over Luffy and creating like all these scenarios in her head like someone who is actually in love.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Luffy's in the background because she got him food and he's like eating, like gorging on food. He's like, this is fucking great. So like he's just gorging and she's like, oh my God, we're going to get married and whatnot. But yeah, like the Impel Down Maximum Security Prison, I think it's like a good favorite of mine. The next one, which is like the Marineford arc, is going to be huge. And I'm really excited for Katie to reach that point. I think she's really going to enjoy that arc. Um, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of like heavy things that are going to come up. Like a lot of the things we've already touched up on the show as far as we've gone is basically like people are slaves to these like higher ups called like the celestial dragons, and they get branded whenever they're fed food because they're considered their property now. And so like that's what Boa Hancock was. She was a slave to the celestial dragons, and she didn't ever want to show anybody like her back tattoo because that shows that she's subhuman to the world. And so like it really touches upon like that stuff. They had like slavery, child slavery, they had like child labor and whatnot. Like we saw people like working in their fucking 12, 13 years old, like working in the fields and whatnot. And it's fucked up. Like it's the world is much crazier in One Piece as you go along. And so like we're kind of reaching the halfway point of the show, which is awesome to me.
This one made me laugh, so I had to put it up on screen.
Oh yeah, so like he crash landed in Amazon Lily, and then he's hungry, he goes around, he finds food, and then he comes across a bunch of mushrooms. Well, he comes across a mushroom called the parasite mushroom, which basically starts growing mushrooms all over his body.
Oh jeez.
And so he's passed out on the floor, he's got mushrooms in his mouth, and he looks like he's dead. And then the girls find him, and they're like, we got to remove the mushrooms and heal him up. So they bring him into Amazon Lily, like their town.
And they're like a woman at this point.
They assume that he's a woman.
Yeah.
And so like they take
I know where this is going.
Yeah. They take all of his clothes off.
Yeah.
And then they pull off all the mushrooms, and then they set him on fire because you have to get rid of like the roots.
Okay.
And so like he wakes up, he's freaking out and whatnot, and then like he passes out again, and then they go and they're like, well, you need to clean him now that you set him on fire. So while they're cleaning him, they're like, hey, there's another mushroom down here.
Oh, God. I understand now why the show's called One Piece. Love it.
It's the best because like he's also made of rubber because he ate the gum fruit, which makes him a rubber man. And so basically, like as they're pulling, it's like it's not coming off. Like
and it's getting harder now.
Well, eventually he wakes up, and then he's like, what's that thing underneath that mushroom? They're like, that's sack. They're like, oh, that's my balls. Like literally he goes, that's my balls. And they're like, balls, what are that? And he goes, my family jewels. And then the ladies are all like, oh, so it's treasure. Can we have it?
Oh my God.
And he's like, no, you can't have my balls.
That's so good, dude. I love it. That's amazing.
It's good. It's funny, dude. It's great writing. Like the show by far has been just spectacular. And
when's the live action out?
Oh, I don't remember actually. I think it's coming out pretty soon. I think in October.
Are you gonna? I presume you'll watch it. Will you give it a chance anyway?
Yep. I'm gonna watch it, and I kind of hope that you take a chance to just watch it.
I'll definitely watch it because again, it's not a big like fucking commitment of watching like 1,000 episodes or something, like, whereas like I can kind of just follow this from the start. It's a good jumping on point, I suppose. I'll definitely watch it. We can talk about it here. No problem. Yeah, I'll definitely give it a go. I'll give it a go. Yeah, look, guys, I think we're pretty much at the end for the week now. We're nearly at an hour and a half. We're kind of like averaging an hour and a half here without really even trying, which is nice. We're in a good pace. Hopefully wasn't really a lot to talk about other than Secret Invasion this week anyway. But the show's out next month according to Andre. Okay, cool. Yeah, look, we can cover it here. We might be hitting a bit of a kind of slow couple of weeks coming up in like August and stuff like that. So, okay.
When is Ahsoka?
Ahsoka's at the end of August as well. So you're gonna have Ahsoka and One Piece around the same time as each other. So yeah, we can do like double up episodes of covering Ahsoka and One Piece. Maybe that could be pretty cool.
I would say by that time too, once we get to the big episode that I'm waiting for on One Piece, like the anime itself, I know Andre's going to really want me to watch that, so I will be catching up at that point. So once that episode pops in, and like and it's ready to go, like I'll watch it because I know it's going to be huge. It's going to be the most expensive One Piece episode they've done to date. And
That might be a good time to do the anime podcast episode then around that time.
Yeah,
that could be a good one. So we'll pencil it in. Guys, if you're listening to us on a replay, I appreciate you hanging out. Let us know in the comments below what you think of everything we talked about this week. What are your predictions for episode 5 of Scret Invasion? And are you going to go see Oppenheimer? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. We talked about a lot of stuff. So, yeah, let us know below. And we'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.
later.